Hello, I'm Pastor Dave McAwee, the pastor of New Life, a global Methodist church in State College, Pennsylvania. And this is our sermon recap for February 17th, as you seek to work through the insert and also apply the message for the sermon to your life this week. Now, this week we looked at Luke chapter 6, verses 17 through 26. And here's the key takeaways from the sermon. Now, this passage is the Beatitudes, and we see that we cannot judge the Beatitudes by the earthly standards. If we try to take this just from a rich and poor outlook, we will be in trouble because by global standards, pretty much everyone in this country would be considered rich. But also, as we look within the Gospels, we see that Christ isn't always concerned by the wealth itself or the objects themselves, but by the deeper motivations that could lead to one becoming wealthy. So we need to take this from the spiritual point of view, not the worldly point of view. But also, we have to understand what being blessed really means, because the blessed are provided for by God and the faithful as a whole. That's one of the ways the poor were blessed by God, is the fact that the faithful had a responsibility to provide for those amongst them who were in need. This wasn't pawned off to the government, it wasn't pawned off to another organization, and that standard truly has not changed. God uses the faithful to provide for those in need in the church. And this becomes important, especially as we look to wealth, as we look to rich versus poor. And we see that if God is using the rich to provide for the poor, as has happened throughout history, there must be something deeper. And really, this is where we see what the blessings really are, because the blessed are those who seek God and not the earthly reward. One of the things I say often in ministry is that the motivation counts. If one honestly acquires wealth and seeks to use it to do God's work in this world, then they're truly doing God's will. However, if one acquires the wealth for their own benefit and for their own rewards, then they have received their earthly reward and cannot expect another reward later. And we see this when we see how many well-off people have truly benefited the church and have done God's will. And it really does boil down to the idea that if we seek comfort now, if we seek comfort in this life, we cannot expect to have comfort later. This is applying that deeper motivation to what is still to come. If you use the wealth for your own comfort now, you can't expect comfort for all eternity. But if you seek to do God's will now on earth, then God will remember that for all eternity. This is where we get to the deeper understanding of the Beatitudes, that it's really about the deeper motivations of self versus God. Because in the end, what we have does not matter to God, but what we desire in our hearts does matter. God cares not just for the faith part of our life, but the fullness of our life. What's in our hearts, what's in our minds, all of it. And it's important that in every aspect of our lives that we are faithful to God and that we seek not to place ourselves in God's place. So there you go. Hopefully this refreshes your memory of the message. If not, you can go back and watch the service on Facebook or look for the sermon on YouTube. But that's your recap for this week. Reminder, we worship at 10 a.m. at the Center Learning Community Charter School located at 2643 West College Avenue in State College. And we stream on Facebook and upload the sermon on YouTube. But until next time, I'm Pastor Dave, and I hope you find a way to apply God's Word into your life this week.